Mountain Coaster is the newest coaster in Stockholm, the capital of Sweden, and is located at the SkiStar Stockholm Hammarbybacken skiing resort, if you can call it a resort, I don't know. It's a wonderful little ride with a gorgeous view and a fun single rail experience. Today I'll be giving a short review of this fun tourist attraction, and if you're in Stockholm, I can already say that you should definitely check this out, because it's a great stop even if you're not into roller coasters.
I'm going, that's all it is to it, I'm fucking going.
I rode it in September of 2022, and let's talk about some technical stuff.
I only need one.
Mountain Coaster is a Sunkid mountain coaster, a single rail alpine / mountain coaster. Only just over a dozen of these actually exist when considering the ones made by Sunkid, but they are based off of the single rail mountain coasters made by the now defunct manufacturer from Austria, Brandauer, who made upwards of 50 of these bastards that were reportedly some of the most intense mountain coasters out there. The ride opened in the summer of 2022 and it features small cars with space for up to 2 people. The only restraint you have is a seatbelt, sort of like in a car really, which means you also feel incredibly free. Regarding its height, it's kind of hard to estimate, so I'll just say it probably is like 3 feet off the ground at all times or something like that. It's 2,624.7 feet long, which I would believe is a shorter length for a mountain coaster. And depending on your braking, it can go 24.9 miles an hour. And that's exactly the thing. On a mountain coaster like this, you control how fast it goes.
Make your choice.
You can't accelerate, but you're able to brake at all times, meaning that some people will go really slow and brake constantly, whereas other people like me personally never brake and go full speed. Full force! If you haul ass, the ride is 53 seconds long from when you get released from the lift hill until you hit the brake run. The lift hill itself is a nice long journey of its own, and of course it's got 0 inversions. I don't think we'll ever see an alpine coaster with inversions, although it would be really cool.
You look like a snake!
Almost the best part about mountain coaster is the mountain itself and just how it looks. From a distance, this looks really cool, and it has this shiny look on the hillside, looking like a snake of some sort. And it really is the shiniest coaster I've ever seen. It's literally blank metal. The view from the coaster itself is also gorgeous. It seems like you can see basically all of Stockholm and into the nature side as well. You can even see Grönalund.
I can see Grönalund as well.
So the appearance of the coaster and the appearance you get from the coaster are both absolutely outstanding. This is easily one of the best locations for any roller coaster I've ever ridden. For the layout, you start off with what's known as a surface lift, which is a ski lift really. It's combined with the actual ski lift right next to it. They have a stick they plop into you that pulls you all the way up, and then it lets go at the top so you fall down by gravity. You have a small turn to the right where you get the best view on the ride, and then a small curved drop where you'll start to feel some lateral forces. Next up is another curved drop which is slightly wider but also fairly faster because you're going steeper down here. So you get some pretty nice laterals pushing you toward the right side. It's not intense yet.
We get there when we get there!
But it's fun. Then there's a long straight section, and here you can really just enjoy the view.
It's so beautiful!
Because nothing else is happening here until you hit this turn, which is a sharper turn. You also have gotten some more speed at this point, and because of how you sit in the car, or rather on top of the car, this turn feels very fast and you get some really good lateral forces here. This is the point of the ride where it starts to feel like you're actually gonna fall off, even though you're not, but this is the start of the intensity, if you will. Then you have a quintuple down, which is a series of 5 sequential drops. All of them actually bring on some weaker flow to air time. You'll feel some weightlessness and a little bit of weaker lift upwards whenever you hit one of these drops, so I'd say it's really fun, especially because it's fast and rapid fire. This is of course assuming you're going full speed. Then you have another sharp turn, which is just like the prior one, except it's even longer, so you'll get some great laterals toward the right. Really good and very sustained as well. Then you have another straight section with a small drop in angle before hitting a very sharp turn that also has some pretty strong laterals at this point. So another great intense turn. Then you have the steepest drop on the ride. Now there might be some auto braking here. It does feel like you're not really gaining speed while going down this drop, so there might be some automatic braking I'm not aware of. But then after that you hit another sharp turn at the bottom, also intense but not as intense as the prior one, and then you hit the final brake run. So it's a really fun layout with some good laterals, some fun weaker flow to air time, and just a gorgeous view. Wow.
I mean, you're not gonna give me a ticket for driving too slow, are you?
That's right.
The pacing of the ride is simple. It gets faster and more intense throughout. Almost every turn is more intense than the last, and the airtime also appears later in the ride. Basically, it feels like it gets more and more wild. There are, of course, the straight sections.
Fucking thing sucks!
And those do kill the pacing, especially the first one. That one happens right after you start gaining speed, right after you start getting excited, and then there's just this long period of nothing happening. This really is a pacing killer. But otherwise, it's great because it feels like it gets more intense throughout the ride, which is always a good thing. Of course, the biggest pacing killer though is yourself. If you brake. If you're one of these people, why are you even riding this?
Smooth.
It's a very, very smooth ride. It's brand new and it basically feels like the car is just put on top of the track, so there's not any rattling or roughness at all. It's super smooth.
The smoothest ride of all.
There's just some slight shuffling, which really adds to the fun, and there's far from any discomfort at all.
You got nothing. Nothing.
Regarding theming, there's nothing. It's non-existent.
It does not exist.
The closest thing to theming you'd find on this ride would be the skiers next to you, and I guess the mountain itself.
Check this out, girls.
Overall, this is a really enjoyable attraction. Not at all one of the most intense mountain coasters. It's definitely suited for the average rider. Everyone can ride this. You can customize the ride yourself, but it's also not one of the best mountain coasters simply because it isn't that long and it doesn't do that much. Overall, I would give this a rating of 6.5 out of 10. I personally really like this ride and wanted an extra ride on it than my first one. It's simply a really fun ride, but nothing special, at least regarding the ride itself.
That's okay.
Because the mountain, and especially the view you get over Stockholm and the resort itself, is really a special experience. The view itself is enough reason to come here. And if you are in central Stockholm or just happen to be nearby, you should absolutely check it out. It's a fun ride and the hill itself has plenty of activities. The view is especially stupendous. And in fact, I'd say it's the main reason to go, with the coaster being a great bonus. I can't wait to experience more alpine coasters, especially single rail ones, so let me know what you think about this or anything else you've written that's similar to this. Also, just let me know what you think of Stockholm. I love that city.
What did you say?
Otherwise, bye!
Oh no.